United Naga Council's economic blockade completes 50 days today. Manipur is on the boil at the moment. What sparked the protests in Manipur? Ahead of Act East policy, why India should formulate Act Manipur policy. What needs to be done to ensure the better governance in Manipur state? GS Paper 3, Security Challenges and Their Management in Border Areas. What is the context about? Widespread protests have erupted in Manipur in the last few days, with protesters setting on fire to protest against the Naga economic blockade. While curfew has been imposed in several parts of the state, police and paramilitary personnel are patrolling restive areas to prevent a further escalation of law and order situation. The government had shut down internet services to check spreading of rumors through social media in the state. Background: the UNC's economic blockade, which began on November 2 demanding the repeal of the three bills, gained momentum later. It led to a severe shortage of commodities, and the price of petrol shot to Rs 300 a litre in Imphal city. What sparked the protests in Manipur? On December 9, the Manipur government issued a gazette notification creating 7 new districts by bifurcating 7 of the state's existing 9 districts. The announcement came in the backdrop of an indefinite economic blockade launched on November 1 by the United Naga Council, UNC. The indefinite blockade on the 2 national highways in the state have cut off supply of essentials to Imphal Valley. Given that the state is divided on communal lines, this decision did not go down well as with the Nagas, as they stand to lose control of their ancestral lands in 2 districts, Sadar and Jiribam. Ahead of Act East policy, why India should formulate Act Manipur policy. The Act East policy at its core focuses on using India's eastern border states to improve trade relations with Southeast Asia. Manipur, which shares 355 kilometers of its border with Myanmar and remains India's most economically viable border to the southeast. Manipur's contentious merger with India and subsequent land and identity issues have resulted in a cycle of violence and insurgency movements within the state. The weakest link in this grand strategy, however, is the state of the states along the northeastern border. The border states cannot metamorphosize into a gateway for Southeast Asia without any tangible development within the states themselves. Thus, ahead of Act East policy, India should formulate Act Manipur policy. What needs to be done to ensure the better governance in Manipur state? The Armed Forces Special Powers Act has continued to alienate the local population. Thus, autonomy should be given to tribal districts through phased removal of UPSC and implementation of the 6th schedule. Resolutions involving the various tribes along with possible administrative control over certain regions dominated by the Nagas can ensure better governance in the state. It will also help in removing incentives for the rise of smaller insurgent groups and remove the onus for maintaining peace from the state and onto the groups themselves. Manipur, along with other eastern states, needs to be made a stakeholder in any foreign policy that involves acting east. An Act East policy that uses the growth and regional impact of a stronger, better governed Manipur will have far greater impact on India's commitment to its eastern neighbors.